And good afternoon, folks. Warp103 being your guys another one. This time here, we're talking about how armor plays so much role in this game that it's ridiculous. So sit back, relax, and of course, enjoy the show. What you're looking at right here is tomatoes.gg. And what we're showing you is the top tanks in the game.
Thank you for viewing
when it comes to win rate differential.
If you like the content, make sure
Now,
you subscribe
you're probably
to the
like,
channel
okay, what
by
the hell does
clicking
win
the
rate
icon
differential mean?
above.
Win rate differential means this is the player's win rate.
When the next video drops.
And this is the win rate that the players are averaging in said tank. So it doesn't matter if you're a bad player. If you're playing this tank here, your win rate most likely will go up by, again, in this case here, 2.65%. Now, we've already covered in the last video 4 tanks that are virtually the same except for how their weak spots are, okay? Now we're tackling it from the knowledge of how weak spots in this game make it so that if you have less weak spots, you are more likely to do a lot better than the average person. Now, unfortunately, most of the most heavily armored tanks in the game at tier 8s are what? As normal, mostly heavy tanks. There is one that doesn't fit the bill, and this is a overpowered, broken tank that you do not see in the game, and they don't sell it. The rest are in the game. Now, there's one more that, again, statistically anomaly. It has 101 battles, so again, we're not thinking about that. So you remove this out the game, this TD here, that's, again, doesn't really get played. And you move out the EBR, again, that's so broken, that's busted, that if you don't understand it, I don't know what to tell you. That leaves all heavy tanks until you get down to the bottom, where the last one, again, this is the top. When you get the XM56, again, but that is a heavily armored, hull down. Again, if it's hull down, good luck pinning it, because if it's lack of weak spots. Now, this is really simple. We're going to look over to you, Darnie, because again, you know this is on the play a lot. BZ, lack of weak spots. What does it do? Oh, you're going to average almost, let's do it, almost 4 plus 4 to what your average is. So literally, if you just play this one here, you're going to rank up a little. The Charlemagne. Project Ion, again, this tank here and this tank here are the same tank. So you can lump these numbers in with this one here. And you divide between the two, and if you put them together in a slide, you're going to get about 2.25. So basically, you're going to get over to above what your normal player rank is, the rating is, you're going to get that much higher. Why? Because the weak spots are just ridiculous. Same with the K2. Are you noticing a pattern here? The tanks with the least amount of weak spots are having the highest, and again, what I mean by weak spots, we go talk about hold down. Some of them have upper plates that are ridiculously hard too. So again, the lack of weak spots make it, again, this is a hold down monster that was weak before, that they buffed because people complained about it like, oh, we can't do nothing in it. It has a one-trick pony. So they buffed it and it just got better. Well, Warp, it can't be that bad. Okay. Again, let's go with the top of the top dogs. We're gonna go back and forth and everything else like that. Let's just do that as a, again, let's look at the K2. Good luck. All down monster. We wonder why it's doing so well, even though its gun is complete trash. but it just basically stays in your face and good luck trying to pin it. Ah, okay, cool. Now again, I'm looking at the top tanks. These are the top dogs. These are the creme de la creme. I don't think I need to, do I need to show the BZ? No, I don't need to show the BZ, okay? Let's go with the contradictions. Okay, it's new, right? Holy shit, good luck. Good luck. Oh, no. And if it goes hold down, good luck. But people want to sit there and say it's like that, but heavy tanks, you know, they're getting pinned by tier 10s easily and everything else. Like, cry me a river. Cry me a river. Because again, I put 250 plus. Why? Because you have tier 10s if they're not shooting gold at 250 that are at 250 plus, and they still can't pin these guys. Now, of course, if they load gold, that's a different thing entirely. But I'm talking about with standing rounds. They're at the peak. Still can't pin it. Okay. Well, what about the defender? Defenders, I mean, it's only 1.5 and everything else. That defender. Again, good luck. Because the weak spots Capolas on here, they're there. They do have 2 of them, but they are really low profile. Good luck with that. I mean, just look. What are you gonna do? Aim for the weak spots. And if he's doing this back and forth, good luck. When people usually say, "Oh, we can do +1, -1." Imagine if you are a tier 9. We're gonna take out this. We're gonna go to average tier 9. Okay. Concept. Right. Now you notice I put in the penetration of 255 and better. So your average tier 9 heavy tank versus the tanks I showed you in that list, good luck. Now they have to load gold at that point. And even loading gold, there's no guarantee that you're going to pin. So until you introduce more weak spots into these tanks, you're in a fall land. And again, people keep up with the argument +1, -1 will solve the problem. No, it will not. You're still going to have tier 7s. Again, we're going to look at the top tier 7s, the top win rate. Again, this is no longer going to be the case because this is going to get nerfed into it's getting nerfed into oblivion. Sorry, it has been nerfed into oblivion. Let's go with the chopper. Chopper's pin is 204. Just load up the gold penetration. You see the number here? Again, this is tier 7 going up against tier 8 of all the top tanks in the game. And if they're hauled down, since they're lacking weak spots, good luck. So I'm really sick and tired of saying +1, -1 is going to solve this problem. It's not. There are too many tanks that are at tier 8 that even with +1, -1, you will have a tough time trying to pin the average tier 8 that is in the top of their game. You're literally going to be like, again, versus your top tier tanks. If they're a haul down, you're not pinning them. You're just not. Let's go to the bottom of this list before it starts to disappear. Again, you're looking at this. This is versus tier 9 penetration heavy tanks. Good luck. Again, I'm going to keep hopping on this because again, people are not understanding. Even with +1, -1, all you do is actually make these tanks even stronger, because then they don't see tier 10s. And majority of the times tier 8s will see more tier 10s, a lot more than they're going to see tier 6s. You're only going to see tier 6s 4% of the time. You're going to see tier 10 about 40% of the time. 4% grief, but they're going to face tier 10, 40%. They don't see tier 10s no more. They're going to see mostly tier 9s. Huh. Again, versus tier 9s. Now, of course, they're going to be exception rule, high caliber guns and everything else that can penetrate them and everything else that. But we're talking about, since the lack of weak spots, heavy tanks can literally just be like, yo, again, this is what I was saying before, and so that if they go against tier 7s, if the tier 7s is not loading gold, they literally can just sit there. We already showed you the best of the tier 7, the pin. They can just sit there and not have to worry about getting pinned. So, again, I've covered this before. I'm going to cover it again, and then I'm going to cover maps after that. This is one of those things where I'm trying to tell you, even the +1, -1 is not going to fix stupidness like this. It's not going to fix it. It's one of those things where the armor is way too strong, and they have not, well, basically, they have whittled away, and new tanks basically don't come into the game with significant weak spots. And when they do, no one buys them, because they're like, why would I buy a tank that has weak spots when I have all these other tanks over here that doesn't, and I can sit there and be in the top of my team by just playing these. So, again, this is warp103. We're going to say warp out, have fun. These are the numbers, folks. You see it for yourself. We're going to catch you guys on the next one.